The children in this Northwest class in the schoolroom are sitting 15 feet from this. Picric acid, a highly explosive chemical. When crystallized, it's much like nitroglycerin. If jarred or dropped, it will explode. On the opposite side of the classroom and chemistry lab is a small storeroom. On the floor sits an array of jars and cans containing possibly toxic chemicals. In this group sits 1 pound of potassium cyanide, the chemical used in gas chambers. If this jar is broken, allowing someone to breathe the substance, the result can be death. If the potassium cyanide comes in contact with an acid, the adjacent rooms will become a virtual gas chamber.
The problem is that we have a few chemicals which have been labeled as dangerous chemicals and should be removed from this building, and we're in the process of removing them just as soon as we possibly can.
But are the students in danger?
Right now, most of them are in a safe position, but that doesn't mean that they always will be, because people do stumble around and knock things over, and people could get in my storerooms.
We were told the director of high schools had paid a visit to the Northwest class in high school shortly before we arrived. A trip to the Oklahoma City School Administration building told us the problem is not a new one and action is being taken.
Some other schools where there are chemicals. I do want to state, however, that this came to our attention last year, and we did send a form out to our schools. We asked the teachers to survey the chemicals and send that form back to us so that we could proceed and pick up those chemicals. That happened to a large extent. As we were doing this, it was then that we discovered that we had no place to dump the chemicals. So we stored them at the service center on 23rd Street.
We went to the chemical storage building on Northeast 23rd Street, and this is what we found. Old chemicals amongst broken school desks and books. No protection from the climate, no guard. Many jars no longer have lids. Some with lids have now chemically eroded, while other jars are cracked or broken. The chemicals are here because there's no place in Oklahoma for this kind of disposal. Betty Mason promises that these and the chemicals at Northwest Classen and any other school will be removed immediately. An out-of-state company has been contracted to remove all the chemicals and dispose of them properly.
This is not the Lone Ranger, just a quiet cowboy who came early. He's taking a deep seat and a long distant look at the Myriad Arena, where he'll rodeo with calves, bulls, and broncos all week long, beginning tomorrow night. The big beast on the turf today is a tractor, turning chunky earth into finely graded dirt. With tomorrow night's kickoff, the National Finals Rodeo returns to the Myriad for the 3rd year. Competition begins at 8 each night through Sunday, December 13th. The National Finals brings some of the best riders, ropers, and rodeoers in the country to Oklahoma City. Unlike the quiet cowboy, some of the riders can't sit still. Neither can their horses, until they're supposed to. With the rodeo comes a Western atmosphere and flavor that is hard to find in today's urban society. About as hard to find as tickets to the finals. They were sold out months ago. Larry Onus, Action 4 at the Myriad.
Texas Toads aren't on anyone's hit list, unless you count these kids. The Toads are just one of the groups performing at the Rainbow Factory. The factory puts on a show a day, 2 on weekends, for children of all ages. The puppeteers are Oklahoma Christian college students working for college credits. Profits from the shows will go to scholarship funds. All the puppets are handmade, and the Rainbow Factory has workshops on how to make them. It's all about a form of entertainment almost as old as time, and one that shows no signs of fading away.
Kids like to watch a lot of action. They like music with a beat, they like comedy, and you get that with puppetry. But all productions, as far as that goes with puppetry, allows people's minds to escape back into their childhood, something that they wish they could have been in reality, and we bring their dreams to reality with cartoon characters or puppet characters, and we use music and color and action to do that, you know. It's a neat thing to see an adult have a great time, you know, get up and clap and yell and yahoo along with these little 3- and 4-year-olds, you know, and we have a whole room full of 3- and 4-year-olds by the time the show's over.
Query and his troupe have created something unique, the Rainbow Factory, whose products are puppets, marionettes, and smiles. Ted Brown, Action 4 at Quail Springs Mall.
An invitation to spend a Sunday afternoon at the governor's mansion is not one to be taken lightly. But the invitation was there today, and hundreds of people accepted. At 2 o'clock, the gates were unlocked, and Oklahomans began filing through the grounds to meet the couple who had invited them.
Hello, Merry Christmas.
Liberty, what a pretty day.
Hi, nice to see you. You want to go right in there?
The Nyes had opened the mansion as a holiday special to the people of the state, but the visitors were mostly interested in the day-to-day articles in the home that has housed Oklahoma governors over the years, items of Oklahoma history and state culture.
And this is the way the governor gives a speech. If you notice, there's writing on his hand. He never reads a speech when he's out, except in the State of the Union message, which he does have to read.
It was a beautiful day for a trip to the mansion and a stroll through the grounds. Not many people could resist an urge to test the waters or capture a moment of it on film. For most, the mystique of the imposing gray building remains, but a personal glimpse of it has made it a little more familiar. Charles Schnetzer, Action 4, at the governor's mansion.
This morning's robbery is the fourth in a string of unsolved holdups during the past month. Two white males wearing plaid shirts, blue jeans, and ski masks walked into the branch office at 10:15, and one of them reportedly jumped over the counter, seized an undetermined amount of money, and left with the other bandit. The men used blue steel revolvers to back up their demands before driving away in a red pickup. Later, they may have switched to a 73 to 75 model brown Ford Maverick with Alabama plates. A car matching that description was reportedly seen casing the savings and loan earlier this week. Sooner Federal has been the target in 2 of the 4 robberies so far.
Well, naturally, it is a worry to us, and it's a matter of great concern to us. However, we do have good security procedures, and our staff does adhere to them.
The first robbery on November 17th has been the most serious holdup. 3 men dressed as painters scattered money as they left, but not before critically wounding a bank guard with gunfire. 3 days later, on the 20th, an armed man threatened to kill a teller at Sooner Federal downtown. He vanished into a rush hour crowd with a bag full of money. And last Friday, a lone gunman robbed the downtown Capital Federal Savings and Loan, the man escaping on foot with the money and an automatic weapon. Today's robbery is the fourth. So far, no arrests, and no word from the FBI or police indicating the holdups are connected. Larry Otis, Action 4, Southwest Oklahoma City.
Last October, some 15,000 blank car titles were reported stolen from the State Tax Commission's print shop. The only information on the theft came from an informant who now lives in Colorado. Officials are beginning to wonder if it ever really happened.
None of the titles had any identifying marks or serial numbers, so that when we recover one, we can't tell whether it was one that was stolen a year ago or one that was supposedly stolen this last time. So we don't know. I kind of feel like that if they had been taken by now, we would have had some reports of them being on the street or someone trying to sell them, and we haven't had any of those reports.
The state print shop director also doubts the theft occurred. Ray Lyles showed me the shop and where 500,000 car titles are stored. He's worried that the alleged theft has made these titles the target for future theft. So he's beefing up shop security.
Well, we are putting in a new alarm system. We will put in approximately 1,500 square feet vault. It will have a concrete roof, as I understand it. And of course, it takes time to get these things started. And the contractor, I understand, is ready to go. We've got some preparations to make here, and we'll be on those next Monday.
Officials may never really know what happened to the car titles. With little information to go on and little way to identify the titles, the alleged theft may remain a mystery. Sherry Sellers, Action 4.
Anwar McCoffman lives on Northeast 28th Street, but is bused to Hillcrest Elementary School on the south side of town. Well, according to Anwar, the bus trip home Tuesday afternoon offered more than the usual. He says he saw a gun lying in the seat next to him, so he picked it up and put it in his pocket. Well, after the bus drove away, he pulled the trigger, and the gun went off. Anwar's mother, Dora Irvin, confirms he came in the house covered in gunpowder and holding a gun.
Yes, he had fired the gun. A lady across the street said that she heard it go off, but she didn't know, that it was a gun. She thought maybe it was a car backfiring or something. And she saw him with the gun, but she didn't pay any attention to that either because she thought it was play.
The next morning, Mrs. Irvin called the principal, Mrs. Clark, at Hillcrest, but was not pleased with her reaction.
Well, she didn't act very concerned about the gun. she really didn't want to discuss the issue of the gun. She wanted to let us know that Anwar was in the wrong school district, first of all. Well, that was the main point that she tried to get across. She evaded the whole issue about the gun.
Today, Action 4 checked with David Nunn, who's investigating the case for the school. He says he has not been able to establish the gun was ever on the bus and assured us that the principal had thoroughly checked the bus before the kids got on. But he adds he's not through investigating the case.
I probably will have to check with the police department to make sure that they do have a gun, and if it does check out to someone, we'll probably try to get in touch with those people and try to find out how the gun got in the hands of this child.
To better tighten up the purchasing arrangements that counties have, to make it where it's not just one person dealing with a vendor, it may be a series of people, a county clerk, the purchasing agent, in the case of the county commissioner, or it might be the county clerk buying supplies for the office, it might be the county treasurer doing the same thing. But to get more people involved in it where it becomes more difficult to circumvent the law.
The rodeo packs them in every year. It's sold out months in advance. But the rumors that the rodeo may move to another city persist. And if they ever come true, Oklahoma City stands to lose some revenue.
We have a sporting event that rivals a Super Bowl or a Kentucky Derby or a World Series game. It means, so the Chamber of Commerce people tell me, and economic leaders of the Oklahoma City community, $10 or $12 million in revenue in about a 10-day to 2 weeks period.
Most people we talked to tonight said they'd like to spend that 2-week period in Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City, it's pretty well centrally located right here.
A heck of a long ways from home, but we're here.
I like it down here. Lots of nice people around here, lots of good-looking women in this town. Good partying going on. I wouldn't want to see it leave nowhere.
Everything is so convenient, just right here around you. You know, it's hotels, places to eat, and that kind of thing. I think it ought to stay. I don't care if I have to drive 4 hours. It's worth it, really is.
If tonight's not very scientific survey means anything, the National Finals Rodeo has found a permanent home. Ted Brown, Action 4 at the Myriad.
Yes, we welcome any contribution at all, and what we will do is segregate those toys by gender and by age. Other than that, we won't repair the toys, but anything anybody thinks is usable that a child might like, we would welcome.
You may have seen a lot of these markers lately, but they're there for a reason. Underneath the ground are all sorts of water, utility, and transmission lines. If an excavation crew accidentally severs one of them, the results could be devastating. Many times, the crews are not aware the lines even exist.
But now there's a computer,
and excavators have to make just one phone call to find out where all the lines are. The phone call will connect them to a computer. It's called the one-call system, and it's part of a law passed by the legislature which goes into effect in January. The law is designed to prevent costly mistakes that could damage pipelines and cables. It should save Oklahomans millions of dollars.
What we're trying to accomplish is an increase in safety to decrease the number of dig-ins where an excavator will actually dig into a gas pipeline, cable TV, or any kind of underground facility. And we hope to do that by having one number that any excavator can call and find out who is at the area.
Okay, we'll notify Southwestern Bell. I need to give you a verification number.
The computer will make it a lot easier for excavation companies. They're required to get a list of all underground operators in the county before they start digging. But now all that information can be obtained by one phone call and a computer. Bella Shaw, Action 4.
On the surface, Watonga seems like a quiet, racially mixed town of 5,000, but some members of Watonga's minority community say they've been victims of city police harassment for years. The latest incident took place early Monday morning when an off-duty Watonga policeman allegedly kicked in the front door of this house. The officer then reportedly threatened the home's occupants at gunpoint. Witnesses say the officer fired 2 shots at the home's residents. Jesse Morales was asleep in the living room when the incident began.
Killed me and my brother and Francisco, and coming here and put the pistol to me. Me stay sitting right there. I don't move, no nothing. I'm scared, and I got the pistol in my head for I think 1 hour or 2 hours. You know, I'm scared.
Last night, a Watonga priest, Father Robert Siebes, discussed the incident with the Watonga City Council during an executive session.
Have a second. All in favor, would they say aye? Aye. All opposed, same sign. Has everyone voted?
Immediately following that meeting, the council reconvened in open session. They voted unanimously to direct Watonga Police Chief Lonnie Rickey to fire the officer involved in the alleged incident. The OSBI is conducting its own investigation into the matter. The council's action will have no bearing on the Bureau investigation, but perhaps it will convince some of Watonga's minority residents that the town is sensitive to their complaints. Scott Wallace, Action 4 in Watonga.
Even when we disagree, we've been very fast, and there's quality of service delivered to the community.
Understand that possibly at least one representative of the media wanted to voice some objection to that.
This man's job gets a heck of a lot harder when Oklahoma's cold weather sets in. He sees to it that the residents of the Oklahoma City Zoo are warm, well-fed, and comfortable during the cold. It's a main concern of every employee at the zoo. Some of the more exotic animals' lives depend on these people.
Most of the zoo animals here are exotic animals, and they come from near the equator in the tropical areas, so we have to do things to protect the animal, and oftentimes the keepers actually have to do things in spite of the animal and lock them up inside. Many times the animals, though, take care of themselves. We provide them with a warm space to go into, and they choose the habitat they want, whether they want to be cool or warm.
One animal that wants to be warm is a giraffe. Once the temperature drops below 40 degrees, these lofty beasts are brought inside. They simply can't stand the cold. The giraffes aren't alone in their preference. The elephants, hippos, and rhinos also stay inside when it's cold outside. Another cold-natured group are the reptiles. This caiman would rather bask in the sun provided by heat and sun lamps and lay by the poolside. Another interesting winter fact of the alligator family is to stop eating during the cold months. They build up a layer of fat which they feed off of. Not all the animals here at the Oklahoma City Zoo dislike the cold weather. In fact, for the sea lions, this is the perfect time of the year. During the summer, the animals often contract eye and skin irritations due to the heat. So there are animals to see here at the Oklahoma City Zoo during the winter, something fun to do for you winter weather lovers. Sherry Sellers, Action 4.
Man, this close to Christmas, I didn't think it'd be this many cars out here. I thought someone would have their Christmas shopping done by now. Ah, there's a place.
And with some quick thinking and ingenuity, I quickly jockeyed my car into a valuable parking space just ahead of the competition.
Who taught you how to drive, Mario Andretti?
While walking through the mall, I was simply amazed at not only the number of people, but the different kinds of people, or creatures. It's so much fun walking through the mall because you meet old friends and make new ones, and you can even meet some local TV personalities.
Aren't you Bob Berry?
Aren't you Gene Shalit?
When you're shopping for friends and family, a person can't help but get caught up in feelings of Christmas, of Yuletide cheer, and just being friendly.
Doesn't this really get you into the spirit of Christmas?
Drop dead warm.
Well, enough of the socializing. It's time to get down to some serious Christmas shopping.
I'd like to get my mom to refer to my list. It's got a couple of things on it.
After consulting my list, I decided I needed some help. Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
I was wondering if you could help me with my list.
It's time for my coffee break.
Sometimes you just can't get any help at all. And other times, you get more than you need.
Hello, sir. Can I help you find something?
No, thanks. I'm just looking.
Would you like something for your wife, sir? We have some pretty blouses.
No, thanks. I'm just looking.
So let me just step right over here and let me show you something in our men's sweaters. We have a very fine selection.
Come on now.
Come on. He wants a sweater. Obviously, he wants a man like...
Well, I accomplished a lot in there. Having looked for some unusual gifts, something for the thinking person, I finally found the perfect gift.
Yes, may I help you? Yes, I'm looking for a chess set for my father, and that one really caught my eye. It seems to be the one I'm looking for.
That's an excellent choice. That's probably our most popular model. In fact, it's the last one we have. It's totally handmade, and it's just perfect for your dad. Would you like to take it home with you?
Yeah. How much is it, by the way?
It'd be $15,600, including tax. Is there a problem?
No, I've got the wrong checkbook with me. What do you have right now for under $5, maybe?
Oh, right this way.
Okay.
Well, certainly, this is exactly what you need. It's $4.95, and our First Lady really enjoys it.
It appears I've gotten everything I need, and I just know it's going to be downhill from here. Hoping your Christmas shopping went a little better than mine.
Why me? I mean, like,
Why me?
This is Dino Lolly, Action 4.
It seems that Christmas has become a commercial conglomerate of buying, selling, and spending. Somewhere along the line, we've lost the true meaning of Christmas, but not so here at the Christmas Connection. It's a community-coordinated Christmas store, trying to make the greatest number of people feel wanted, from those in need of receiving to those in need of giving. The store is sponsored by Community Action, the Catholic Social Ministries, the Department of Human Services, and a very special man, Joe Nelson. These are the coordinators. There are many others who help to make the Christmas Connection work. Starting tomorrow, the store will allow 253 needy families to shop for Christmas, and shop they can at the Christmas Connection. There's all kinds of toys guaranteed to bring smiles to little girls and boys. The whole family will benefit from the abundance of clothing and shoes, but Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without a feast. That'll also be provided, from the turkey to canned goods to fruit. And for a special treat, the American Red Cross donated 2,000 stockings stuffed with goodies. This is the first